I recently had a guy bring me to orgasm just by touching my clit, and it was amazing. And in this video, I'm going to teach you exactly how to do the same. Honestly, I haven't had something happen like that since like high school, and it got me thinking, Caitlin, you've made like 400 YouTube videos. You've talked about fingering, thrusting, pussy eating, squirting, analingus, you name it. What more is there to say on touching the clit? Well, actually, I haven't done a video on exactly how to touch a clit, and thanks to this recent experience, I am really jazzed up and happy to tell you that there is actually a lot to say. But before you touch the clit, let's do the pre-flight checklist. You know how pilots go around and like check the plane before flying for safety? Well, we're gonna do the same here. It's just 3 simple things that you must make sure are in place before we get into the technical stuff. Number 1, get your hands ready. It might be obvious, but you would be surprised how many guys miss this step. Make sure that your hands are clean and smooth. Use a nail file to make sure that you don't have any fingernails with sharp edges. You don't want to cut her, and the skin down there is extra sensitive. It doesn't even hurt to consider scrubbing underneath your fingers with like an old toothbrush to make sure that you're not giving her any leftover bacteria or grime. The vagina is a delicate ecosystem, and it doesn't take much to turn that chemistry off balance. Number 2, approach indirectly. When it comes to giving a woman pleasure of any kind, a warm-up is a must. Approach her clit indirectly and play with the entire area to get her in the mood. Touch the inside of her thighs, the space between her belly button and vulva. Run your fingers through her pubic hair. Touch the area around in a way that is smooth but slightly unpredictable, so that her brain has to keep guessing where you're going next and wondering when you're finally gonna make your move to get to the good stuff. This kind of touch not only prepares her body for the experience of pleasure, it also amps up the anticipation. By the time you actually get to that magic spot, she will be begging for it, and that's what we want. Number 3, lubricate. No one wants a dry finger on their clit. Getting some moisture on there is absolutely necessary. If the two of you are cool with it, then getting your finger wet could be as simple as putting your fingers in your mouth or even in her mouth. If you're using precautions or you're not swapping spit, a little bit of lube goes a long way. You can also run your finger along her vaginal opening and drag up some wetness if her juices are flowing. All right, now that the pre-flight checklist is complete, the real work of flying this plane begins. Step 1, go slow and explore. Even once you've reached the area between her legs, it is still important to go slow before getting to her clit. Slowly let your fingers make their way onto her vulva. This is the soft or pink, red, slick, wet pussy skin. Spend some time getting to know this area. Every pussy is unique and we all like different things. Once you're on the clit, think of it like an egg yolk that you're just trying to touch very gently, not trying to break. Or you can think of yourself as a map maker who's going to make a map of this territory. Explore her clit and all of the surrounding area, including her inner and outer labia, as if you were trying to memorize it in order to draw it out later. If that sounds kind of hot and romantic to you, that's because it is. Once you've spent some time exploring, dip your fingers into her vaginal entrance. If she's wet, you can use that wetness to touch her clitoris. You're not going all the way in there just yet. You're gonna explore maybe the first ½ an inch to an inch, which is really where the majority of wetness comes from. So using her own wetness, or again spit or lube, slowly trail your fingers from her vaginal entrance up to her clitoris and back down again. Taking your time here is key because you would be shocked just how many men end up going straight to her clit. Go slow and make sure that you have actually found the spot. The clitoris is like a little ball, like a little button, and it's important to remember that clits come in all shapes and sizes. I have other videos explaining that. Some of them are really easy to identify and others kind of like to hide. And the cool thing about clits is that once they are aroused, they get engorged. This is because they're made up of erectile tissue, the same stuff that makes up your boner. And the more aroused she gets, the bigger her clit will be. All right, step 2, begin to explore and experiment with pressure. Have you ever tried to perfect the focus on a projector or on a camera? If you have, then you know that just the tiniest adjustment can be the difference between a blurry mess and a perfectly focused image. Touching a woman's clit is exactly the same. It's the kind of attention that's going to let you know the exact right amount of pressure in each moment. Most women prefer a really soft touch, especially at the beginning, going back to that egg yolk analogy. But as you get deeper into the experience, it is important for you to pay attention to what she's doing. Every movement, moan, and breath are giving you a clue of whether or not that's working and if she's ready for more. Let her body guide you. If she's pushing herself into you, then this means she's probably yearning for a harder touch. Increase the pressure by just a small amount and feel out how she responds. What you don't want to do here is go from 0 to 100. The key is about a slow buildup. You're not like going for orgasm, we're going for pleasure. So think about it as like you're increasing by tiny increments until you find the exact pressure that is working for her in that moment, and not going too fast that you miss the sweet spot. Remember also, we're taking our time here, we're making her beg for it. Once you find something that works, don't just More on that in a second. Step 3, keep your eye on your speed. As with pressure, getting the right speed is all about keeping close watch of her reactions. The speed that she probably wants you to go at is a lot slower than you think, and actually probably a lot slower than she thinks. Men tend to amp things up as soon as they feel like they're onto something, but the key is really to hold back and keep sensations slowly rising. A great thing to remember is that you should always keep your fingers sort of loose and limber. So if you feel like you're tightening your muscles in your hands, or even maybe just clenching your jaw or squeezing your butt cheeks, just take a deep breath and relax. We are in no rush here. So if you feel yourself tensing up, take a moment to reconnect with her, look at her, feel into your body, feel into her body. Look into her eyes and breathe with her. Reground yourself in the moment and let that include the incredible nonverbal communication that happens when you're both present. It's always a good idea to remember that this is a marathon, not a sprint. So remind her and yourself to focus on sensation. Orgasm will come eventually. That brings me to step number 4, find the right direction. Here's something I bet you didn't know. For most women, the most sensitive part of their clitoris is the upper left quadrant. That's if you're looking at it. It would be upper right for her. Now notice that I said most, not all women, so you'll definitely need to do some exploration on your own to find out what is best for your partner. The good thing is that there are only really 3 main ways to touch her once you get going. You can run your finger up and down, side to side, or in circles. Or I guess you could do windshield wipers, which is kind of diagonals. How do you know what she likes though? This is when you conduct your A/B test. A/B testing is simple. You try one thing, that's A, and then you try another, that's B, and you figure out which one she likes more. You can gauge what she likes by her body movements, her moans, her breath, other physical cues, but when in doubt, the easiest thing to do is just ask. Another important thing to remember when it comes to direction is this. Many guys find a thing that works and then they just keep doing that thing the whole time. When a woman is close to orgasm, this is totally the right move. But for the majority of the experience, you actually want to switch it up. Some variety is needed in order to build up to a really big orgasm. Again, don't just focus on the end game, focus on the journey. Imagine yourself on holiday. You're on a vacation. What is the most romantic way to get from point A to point B? Well, it's usually the scenic route, right? Exactly. So take it easy and just enjoy the view. And remember that you're probably going to need to re-lubricate your finger a few times while you're down there. A great thing to do, again, is just dip into her body from time to time, dip up into your mouth or her mouth, and of course, remember that lube is always an option. If she's really aroused, you can even pop 2 fingers in there and give a little come hither motion inside of her to stimulate her G-spot. You can do that while you're stimulating her clit with your thumb or with your other hand. Take it from personal experience, that will drive her absolutely wild. Remember, carefully explore her body with varying pressure, speed, and direction. Take your time, pay attention, figure out exactly what she likes. Don't give her just what she likes. Take her on a journey. It is really that simple. Keep an eye out for the way she responds. Don't be afraid to experiment. And if you do that, you will be the king of every clitoris you come across, my friend. Now, there are so many more details that I could dive into here, but I can't fit them all in one video, and I certainly can't show you on YouTube. So I made a whole course. It's called Yoni Massage, Unlocking Ultimate Pleasure, and in it I give you an incredibly detailed guide and even show you hands-on exactly how it's done. Yes, that is right, I filmed myself giving a yoni massage to not just 1, but 2 women. And the link to that course, if you want to check it out, is in the description below. Thank you for watching. I'm Caitlin B, sex and relationship coach, and I will see you here next time. Bye.